All right, let's bring in our guy, Baldy. Baldy, are you sick of James Palmer yet? You just can't escape this guy.
Good to see you again, Baldy.
I was fun with James. Hell no,
Yeah.
man. JP's awesome, man. He's plugged in, does his
doing it.
homework.
Yeah.
Love doing television with James.
This is going to be 2 shows in one day, Baldy, and then Thursday we're together again.
We got that Philly thing going on.
We really do. We really do, Baldy. I'm not going to lie.
If I don't cut off the Philly talk, I know Philly people can just talk about Philly all day.
Hey, it's a big win for the Eagles.
It was
They're on a bye.
Huge win and huge game coming up for the Broncos. And Baldy, something that we've been talking about is Von Miller playing the Broncos again. And one of the questions that I asked these guys is Garrett Bowles and Von Miller have gone up against each other thousands of times in training camp and practices. And from an offensive lineman's perspective, like who has an advantage in that situation when a pass rusher and an offensive lineman know each other more than anyone in the league?
Well, I mean, Von has the advantage. He's just a more talented player, and he's playing at home, where it's just very different. For Garrett, it's, the noise is a factor. You got to handle the atmosphere. I'm not saying, same thing going to Denver for a lot of players, but you're on the road in Buffalo, and, they're coming off a horrendous defeat. So, they're going to be, making as much noise as possible, and now you got Von reacting in that type of situation. I mean, that's a tough spot for Garrett right now. But, look, the fact that just because you're practicing against a guy for a number of years and you feel like you've seen the arsenal of Von Miller moves, you still don't really know what's coming. And I feel like Von, even though he's been back for a couple of weeks, he really hasn't made any kind of Von Miller plays yet. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like he feels like he's got to get it started. Offensively, they struggle week in, week out, depending on who they're playing against. And maybe the defense feels like they need to step up and help the offense out. And I'm sure Von feels that way.
I think Von, he's definitely coming back and getting back to, who he is as a player. But outside of him, there's 10 other guys on that defense, and they haven't been primarily playing well together and have had some injuries. How do the Broncos really take advantage of this defense that's missing some pieces and not playing their best?
Well, there's a reason why they traded for Rasul Douglas. I mean, they're a zone team, and, their corners had not played well. Tre'Davious White, was injured, locked for the season. You look at Kaiir Elam, looks like he's a first-round bust at this point. Christian Benford, who was a 6th-round pick out of Villanova, he's been in and out of the line. They need corners to play that style of defense. And then, look, Greg Rousseau is a guy that, drafted high. They need a more consistent effort from him. But I would say, considering they lost Matt Milano, I would say the inside linebackers have played well. So, they do what they do. They're 2 safeties, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. They're not going to let the ball go over their head. The deep shots just aren't going to be there. Everything will be in front of them. That is pretty much a guarantee in that style of defense.
Baldy, I want to go to the other side of the ball because this has fascinated me this year, what we've seen out of this Bills offense. It's like Stephon Diggs is playing well. He's getting his. Josh Allen is playing well. Dalton Kincaid of late, when they lost Dawson Knox, has done well the last couple weeks. The offensive line has protected, but at the same time, the offense hasn't been consistently good. It was wild after this past game where, Sean McDermott's asked it, Josh Allen's asked it, and they don't really have something to put their finger on about what's wrong with this offense. What do you see when you look at the film, Baldy?
Well, when I watched last week's game against Cincinnati, honestly, James, I thought it was Groundhog Day from the playoff loss to Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. They just got whipped up front. They couldn't pass stunts up front. Josh Allen is running for his life. He can't set his feet and throw balls on timing. And so then you get literally Josh Allen just running around, trying to find open receivers. And he does that at times. The week before, hit Dalton Kincaid on that kind of a play for a touchdown. It looked nice. But against good defenses like Cincinnati and these defenses that you're going to see in the playoffs in the AFC are real. I mean, I saw Baltimore last week, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Kansas City. Like, these defenses don't have weaknesses, James. Mm-hmm. And so if you're getting broken down up front and you're like, okay, we'll just get it to Diggs. Okay, well, they got an answer for it. And so against poor teams and teams that don't defend the way some of the elite teams do in this league, which are dictating all these outcomes, where Detroit goes to Baltimore and they get trounced. Seattle goes to Baltimore, they just get trounced. Cincinnati goes to San Francisco, they just trounce them. Like, when you go up against the half a dozen elite defenses right now, you better be productive and fundamentally sound offensively.
And Baldy, that leads me to, there's a lot of questions surrounding how do you combat that when you do have the talent that we're talking about the Bills have on offense, right? Like, is that on Ken Dorsey? Is that on, Josh Allen's essentially become their run game. It's spread it out. Josh is the run game, right? Is there something, though, during the week that needs to change, in terms of combating some of these problems for this Bills offense?
Well, they went and got Connor McGovern in free agency. They went and drafted Osiris Torrance, at guard.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a lot of, expensive pieces that they plugged in. A lot of, a lot of chips pushed to upgrade the offensive line, yet Cincinnati tore them apart. And it's not every play. It's just one guy gets beat, and Josh Allen is out there. I know Tom Brady criticized Josh Allen, I think, last week, James, about taking off. You got to protect yourself. Well, if he doesn't do that, their offense doesn't have a chance.
Doesn't go. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if they're playing, even if James Cook is running the ball well, and, they just, obviously just picked up a big Lenny, like, they're trying to get a better power running game up front, and so to kind of combat that, so Josh doesn't have to run for it on third down and fourth down to get these first downs. So you can see the reason for that move. We'll see what happens. But they need better balance in their offense. And it just doesn't exist some weeks. Not every week, but some weeks when it doesn't exist, they put up 10 points.
It's fascinating.
And so, Baldy, you talk about how these really good defenses cause the Bills' offense fits. Do the Broncos have that caliber of defense, or has it just been too hit or miss so far that you're not comfortable saying that yet?
I wouldn't put them in that category. Look, all the numbers are skewed because of the Miami game and what happened in the year. Like, that's not that defense anymore. So you can't really look at those numbers. You got to look in the last 3 weeks, 2 games against Kansas City, they've played very well. So I kind of feel like, they found their pass rushers. They have their change-ups that they like to do with linebackers and what they do with Benito and some of the change-ups that they have. Like, I'm sure Benito will do some of the similar things that he did to Patrick Mahomes that he'll do against, Josh Allen. We'll see how that goes. We'll see what they design. But I wouldn't put them in the category of Baltimore. Baltimore leads this league in sacks. Geno Stone leads in interceptions. Like, I wouldn't put them – they don't have a Myles Garrett in Cleveland. They don't have the variety and the players that Kansas City have to do all the different things Kansas City does. So I wouldn't put them in those, in the elite category yet. But I would say they're climbing into that second level right now with a chance to get better because they look like the communication is a lot better. They're playing faster. They're attacking the line of scrimmage. The pass rush is getting home. So I feel, and they're making plays in the back end. So I feel like they're getting better, but I wouldn't put them in that elite category right now.
This team and the city has been really riding high since that Kansas City win. I felt like the team played really great. Guys in the locker room are talking about playoffs and Super Bowls now. When you look at the back half of their roster and you got the Patriots, the Vikings with a new quarterback, the Chargers twice who really haven't found their footing as a team. If the Broncos are able to beat the Bills, is the sky really the limit for the team?
Don't play that game. Like, I know it's fun. Like, we're all fans. It's fun. And I understand all of it. But, man, I hope the players aren't doing that. Like, you've got 2 in a row. You got the biggest win they've had. That's what Sean Payton was here to do, to turn this thing around. Always, the division games, they count double. So, you want to win. You want to think about the playoffs, win division games. So they beat Kansas City. All right, beat the Chargers. But it all starts, like, so here's the deal. Like, Buffalo is a quality team, and you go into Buffalo and you win on Sunday. That's the best plane ride all year coming home. From Buffalo back to Denver, the card games, the action, like the fun, like it's just, that's camaraderie. Like that, everybody that knows, when you win big games on the road, there's nothing more fun that unites a team. And then you can start thinking like that. Yeah. Let's get after Justin Herbert the way we got Josh Allen and Mahomes. So, that's okay. You're allowed 24 hours, right? Well, that'd be a good 24 hours right there on that plane ride home.
Baldy, I want to mention one player specifically. We were going to head over to the corner store on the NFL Report Mondays and Thursdays, catch it on a podcast or on the NFL Fast channel. And we were going to talk corners, but we ran out of time. Jaquin McMillan, you wanted to talk about him. What do you like about his game right now? I know you wanted to talk about it with us, so now get a chance to talk about it here with everybody in Denver.
Well, he's been their nickel corner, I think, for the last 3 weeks. Maybe it's 4, James. But, everybody needs that position. Everybody's got to find that guy. And you can't just take outside guys and put them inside. You can't say, okay, Patrick Surtain, you go inside and play. It's a separate position because of how physical it is. The runs get you attacked. This weekend, you're going to see a great nickel corner in Taron Johnson, number 7 for Buffalo. Like, he's born to play that position. You put him outside, like he's not an outside corner. But like Kenny Moore is that guy in Indianapolis. Like, you need to find that guy in your defense. And it doesn't matter if he's drafted, undrafted, free. Like, you need that guy. And I feel like Jaquin is growing. Like, he accepts his role. Most teams are 3 wide receiver or 4 in this league. And so you're on the field a lot. And, that interception of Mahomes last week was an elite play. That's one that you literally make sure the ball boy protects. More importantly, that you're taking that one home. You're putting that up in your trophy case.
Oh, yeah.
You take one from Mahomes. So I feel like that's, anybody watching the Denver Broncos right now, that's a guy that you should keep your eyes on. Because I feel like, they found Fabian Moreau. Like, he did the same thing last year with the Giants. Like, he can play, and he's serviceable outside. And obviously Surtain. But, like, that's a position of need for every defense, James.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was just gonna say when during the bye week I had a chance to talk to some guys on that side of the ball, Baldy, and they just said, like, they use the term that we all know, right? That's the biggest compliment out there. They're like, he's just a football player, and he's been that way since you watch him in high school. Like, you watch his high school tape, he's just a guy that knows how to make plays and knows how to play the game. Like, and you need those players specifically in those positions that you're talking about, like nickel.
And Baldy, my last one for you, kind of taking a step back, looking at the division. We know the Chiefs are the class of the AFC West, especially after this past week. But then you look around, and the Raiders just had a dominant win.
Well,
but was that because it was
played the Giants?
Exactly, because that was at the Giants, and also teams get that boost after firing their coach. That with that first game after get a boost. We see the Chargers come out yesterday, and they looked good, I guess. I mean, good, much better than the Jets did. Are the Broncos kind of neck and neck with those other 2 teams, or is there a separation one way or another with the Broncos and those other 2?
Well, I mean, look, the Jets are one of those defenses that's in the upper echelon. And so the Chargers go there, and they looked awful for the most part. And if it wasn't for their defense, they probably wouldn't have won that game. So that's what this league is right now. There's 6 or 8 unbelievable defenses that are just hard to penetrate. That being said, you just got to win games in your division. That's how you're going to find out. The Raiders got to bounce this week. We'll see how long the bounce lasts. You're playing a freshman quarterback in Aiden O'Connell. Didn't make a mistake last week, but they didn't ask him to do a lot last week. And the Giants are just dysfunctional. So you kind of maybe you smoke cigars after it and you celebrate. With your head coach. All right, but we'll see how that lasts. The Chargers. The one thing I'd say about the Chargers, when you do put Khalil Mack, Bosa, and Tui Pelotu and Morgan Fox on your defensive line,
Tui Pelotu,
you got a chance to really affect games and affect quarterbacks. And that can be an elite group. They haven't played a whole lot of snaps altogether because of injuries, but Tui Pelotu is a very good player.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got a 4-man front right now that can really get after and affect quarterbacks. So I feel like the Chargers, they have weaknesses. They're kind of bunched up with a bunch of teams that are 500. And so we'll see who can come out of this, but anybody can come out of this. It's second half of the season determines who plays in January.
There you go. So you're telling me there's a chance for the Broncos. We'll take it. And Baldy, go enjoy a cigar after smoking this interview. We appreciate you jumping on with us.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a day for me, but I might have one later tonight. That's possible.
There we go.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Beautiful.
I love it. Thanks so much, Baldy.
See you Thursday, Baldy.
See you, James. Take care, guys. Yep.